Welcome to Monmouth Park Racetrack and welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. They are open for business, and just in time, next week will be the running of the Haskell, one of the biggest horse races in the country with $1 million purse. On this week's show, all of the top horses in the country will be here for the Haskell, including Authentic, who is a Kentucky Derby favorite. We'll also talk to Dennis Drazen, the CEO of Monmouth Park Racetrack, who talks about the opening of the Haskell and what it means to horse racing and New Jersey. You'll find out about fixed odds sports betting on horse racing and how it could change the industry. We'll talk to Democratic Congressman Andy Kim, who's in a tough race now to keep his seat in New Jersey's 3rd District. And take a look at these lines at the DMV. Are they social distancing? Doesn't look like it. And now, my interview with Dennis Drazen, CEO of Monmouth Park Racetrack. The Haskell, I know, is a big event for you. It's going to be a big event for everybody, because when events happen, even when somebody's not a race horsing fan, it shows we're getting back to some kind of normalcy. It brings hope.
It does. It brings hope for the future and what may eventually be called the new normal. I mean, we've used that term before. But every little step, every little inkling of promise for the future and hope for an industry, gives a restored faith that just lights up everyone here at the racetrack, from the person that comes in the gate and takes care of the horses in the morning to the highest person in the ranks of Derby Development, which is the operator of the track. We all have renewed hope. I walk around, whether I should or not, telling everybody we need to save lives, we need to live, we need to get through this, and everything else will fix itself. We have an ability to bounce back from everything. We've fought a lot of struggles, but right now we need to follow the governor's advice and save lives, because this is dangerous and it can kill people.
I was thinking about the masses and I forgetting you're an employer. And you were thinking of your employees. That's the first thing you talked about, are the people that are working here. And it must be difficult when you have the responsibility for so many people and you don't know what's going to happen with them and you don't know when you're allowed to open up. So this has got to be so gratifying for you.
It is. It's wonderful. Originally, we were closed. When COVID-19 came around and we had the coronavirus pandemic, Monmouth Park did not have its live personnel here. We were in our off season, where we do have the sports book and we have simulcast racing, but for the most part, all the employees got furloughed at that point. Monmouth Park was not considered an essential business at that point.
How much did that hurt you, having to furlough people?
It was devastating. I've never had to furlough people in my life. I've always been an employer that no matter what part of my business life I was involved in, I tried to give jobs, to give people hope, to almost, Monmouth Park, this was my family. We used to refer to our team here and all our employees, as the Monmouth Park family, and we still see it that way. So I was taking people that I literally grew up with. I've been coming around here since I'm 8 years old. And I grew up with a lot of these people that work here and come here, and to see somebody and tell them, I have to furlough you, we can't afford to pay you, was probably the worst day of my life.
It's something that so many employers have gone through, but now we're at least have hopes of a happy ending, and the Haskell for you is part of that. Talk about the importance, not only in this time of the Haskell, but the importance of that race. I don't know if a lot of people know what a big race it is.
Well, the Haskell is a major race. Monmouth Park is one of the jewels of racing in this country. Monmouth Park was founded in 1870. And this current facility has been open since 1946. The Haskell is our $1 million centerpiece race. And the Haskell is a race that is one of the classics in America racing. So we started this race, wasn't called the Haskell immediately. It was different names over the years, but in 1968, was the first version. In 1988, it became the current version, and this is our 53rd Haskell. And every year, the best horses in the country come after their Derby campaign, because we're kind of the second season of Triple Crowns. And after you have the Derby, which is the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby, then you have the Preakness, and then you have the Belmont Stakes. So sometimes you get to anoint the Triple Crown winner. We had that with American Pharoah several years ago. We had 61,000 people come to Monmouth
And you have
Park.
several horses expected to come this year that could possibly be winners of the Derby.
This year, you know, fingers crossed, we have 9 today that are confirmed. We have 2 on the fence that could get it to 11. And there are 2 others that are like in the wings looking to hope to get into the field. So we could have a full field.
Everything's great, but you still have this COVID-19 thing like nipping at your heels. And because of it, you have some guidelines you have to follow. What's going to be different?
So normally a Haskell, in an American Pharoah year, Triple Crown year, you got 61,000. But normally we have a crowd that's 40,000 plus or minus 5. And everybody comes out. It's kind of like a festival. It's an event. It's a happening. It's something that people come from all over in order to participate on the day. So this year, you know, we do have restrictions. We were thrilled when Governor Murphy said, hey, Monmouth, I'm going to let you have fans this year. Because when we opened, you know, we thought we were opening a racetrack kind of like what they did with the Belmont. It was going to be a race, but no fans in your facilities. So everyone was a little depressed that we can put on the show, but we can't have a fan. And then we got the whispers that the governor might consider fans. And then we got the proclamation that you can have 500 people in a gathering, because that was the gathering limit. And then we looked at the outdoor dining numbers, and we have a number of dining facilities within here, and the governor was good enough to increase our number. We're about 3,000 now in terms of what we can have because of all the outdoor dining space. So,
but you were one of the leaders in getting legalized sports betting in this country, and you've profited from that, and this park has profited from that. If that didn't happen, how much worse would things be for horse racing in this park now?
We'd be on the verge of closing if that did not happen. So the sports betting case, although it was a 6 to 7 year battle in my life that everybody else said you can't win, and we prevailed. And I spoke to you several times during that period and always told you we're going to win one day.
Yeah.
And it came true. And that really saved Monmouth Park and paved the way for many other states, you know, in this country, probably 90% of them before we're finished, to have legalized sports betting. And we took an industry, you know, sports betting in this country was a $400 billion illegal industry, mostly run by family ties to mobs and, you know, the offshore companies who were operating illegally here. And all that was going on. So legalized sports betting takes that out of the shadows. So this was about survival. You know, when I first took on this challenge in 2012, because at that point they were talking about closing the tracks, if they could not, it was to save an industry. And New Jersey, if we hadn't stepped up to the plate, when I say we, it's the New Jersey Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, if they hadn't stepped up to the plate here and hired me to help them operate, the state would have closed the facility, and that would have been the end of racing.
And now with this quarantine, it's truer more than ever. The timing, even though it took a long time, kind of worked out perfect, because it's probably saved parks around the country.
It did, but you know, you get to a point where you're now profitable, you're making money from sports betting, it's helped filling all the gaps, and you think things are going to be easy, and all of a sudden, COVID-19. So now you have a pandemic that basically put you back to square one.
Right.
And every day I wake up, I know something's going to go wrong.
Well, the Haskell's the beginning of a bright future. I mean, that's the nice thing. That's the hope we started with.
The Haskell's a great thing to look forward to, and it's going to be a wonderful day, and hopefully it's a little cooler than last year, and we have a good race. Everyone comes home safe. We have a potential superstar in the
Yeah.
making.
And you can watch it on
Baffert
NBC, and you can still bet on the race by watching it on another network. But I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My
It's always
pleasure.
nice to talk to you.
Always a pleasure.
That was Dennis Drazen, CEO of Monmouth Park Racetrack. And this is Jordan. He's checking everybody. He's checking their temperature and asking a series of questions if you have any symptoms or if you've been in contact with anybody who did have symptoms. And if they say yes, then
They're not allowed in. They cannot have a temperature above 99.6 degrees.
there you go. So make sure you're healthy before you come to the park. When we come back, we're going to talk about fixed odds horse race betting. They say it's going to change the industry. We'll tell you what it is when Jersey Matters continues right after this.